I stand in the bright hotel ballroom, watching my sister Allison giggle in the center of the room. A silky blindfold covers her eyes while guests circle her with their phones up, ready to record. The chandeliers glow over white flowers and gold glasses. It looks like the perfect scene she always dreamed of. The wedding planner hypes everyone up. She tells the room that Allison is about to meet a very important guest who believes in her future. People clap and whistle. Allison tosses her hair and says she hopes he can feel her confidence even before he sees her. Across the room, my husband Caleb waits near the doors with the planner at his side. He looks calm in his dark suit, but his hand twists the edge of his name badge. Only a few steps separate him from Allison. As I watch, my heart hammers against my ribs. It was Allison who told me, in those exact words, "Do not bring your husband. He is embarrassed." The music softens. The crowd counts down for Allison to take off the blindfold. She reaches her hands forward as the planner guides Caleb in front of her. Her fingers close around his hands, and I see her whole body freeze. 1 month earlier, I was standing in my tiny kitchen, stirring a pot of pasta while my phone sat on the counter on speaker. Allison's voice poured through the line, sharp and smooth at the same time. "I am just setting some standards for my wedding," she said. "I want everything classy. You can come, live, but do not bring your husband. He is embarrassed." For a second I thought I heard wrong. The metal spoon slipped in my hand and clanged against the pot. In the background I heard our mother Patricia sigh. "Allison has a right to want a classy wedding," Mom said. "You know how important this is for her image with Brandon's family." The kitchen door opened and Caleb walked in, loosening his tie. He stopped when he heard Allison's last words. "He is embarrassed." My throat closed up. There was a strange silence on the line, then Allison repeated, "You can come, but not him." "I am serious." I fumbled to end the call and tapped the screen with shaking fingers. The call dropped. The only sound left was the low boil of the pasta and Caleb's slow, careful breathing behind me. He stood very still and did not say a word. Later that night, we sat on the old couch in our living room. The television was on, but neither of us watched it. Caleb stared at his hands while his thumb picked at the skin around his nails. "You know Allison," he said at last with a small shrug. "She has always been extra. It is fine." His voice tried to sound light, but his shoulders were tight. "Caleb is not flashy. He works as a quiet data engineer, likes puzzles, and hates small talk. When he gets nervous, his words catch and trip over each other. That stutter made kids tease him all through middle school. Even as an adult, he pulls back when new people stare too hard." "It is not fine," I said. "She called you embarrassing, like you are some stain on a white shirt." Caleb gave a tired smile and looked away. "They already think I am the awkward one," he said. "They do not know about the other stuff. It is easier that way." By other stuff, he meant the grocery price platform he had been building at night, the one he still had not told my family about. I lay awake later, staring at the ceiling, hearing the word embarrassing over and over. The next Sunday, Mom invited us for what she called a simple family dinner. "Just us," she promised. "It will be nice before things get busy." When Caleb and I walked into the house, the smell of roast chicken filled the air. But the living room was not simple at all. Allison stood there in a white jumpsuit, glittering earrings, and perfect curls. Beside her was her fiancé Brandon in a pressed shirt and watch that probably cost more than my rent. His parents sat on the couch, stiff and polished, like they lived inside a magazine. "Oh, you brought him," Allison said, looking Caleb up and down. Her eyes landed on his worn sneakers. "Cute." During dinner, she talked the whole time about wedding colors and Brandon's company. When Caleb tried to share a story about a project at work, she cut across him. "Too technical," she said loudly. "Nerd talk. Nobody cares about code here." Everyone laughed a little too loudly. Mom shot me an anxious look and hurried to change the subject. Each time Caleb opened his mouth, someone spoke over him. At last he quietly said he had a work call and slipped out. The front door clicked shut. Allison sighed in relief. "See," she said. "This is why I cannot have that at my wedding." The next afternoon I called Allison and asked to meet at a small coffee shop near her apartment. She arrived in big sunglasses and a tight blazer, as if she were stepping out of a photo shoot, not meeting her sister. I went straight to it. "You cannot keep talking about Caleb like that," I said. "He is my husband. If he is not welcome, I am not sure I should come either." Allison rolled her eyes. "Liv, this is my one big day," she said. "Brandon's parents are used to a certain level. I need everything to look perfect. You know how Caleb dresses. You know how he freezes in crowds. I am not trying to be mean. I am just being real." "That is not being real," I said. "That is cruel. You are asking me to choose between my husband and my family." She gave a small, fake, tearful laugh. "You are being dramatic. I am the one under pressure. For once, can you not make this about you? Either respect my standards or stay home. I am not arguing about this again." She picked up her purse and stood. A minute later she was gone, heels clicking on the floor, leaving me at the table with cold coffee and a burning throat. 2 days later Brandon texted and asked if we could talk. I almost ignored it, but curiosity pushed me to agree. We met at a quiet coffee shop downtown where the music was soft and the light was warm. He sat across from me, fingers wrapped around a mug. "I know things are tense," he said. "Allison is stressed. She really does not mean to hurt you or Caleb. She just cares a lot about appearances." I stared at him. "She said my husband is embarrassed and banned him," I replied. "That is not stress. That is a choice." Brandon shifted in his seat. "I heard some of what she said," he admitted. "I thought staying out of it would avoid drama." "Staying silent is not neutral," I said. "It tells her she can keep doing it." He winced and looked down. "I just want peace until the wedding is over," he said quietly. "Please try not to upset her." His words landed like a stone. At that moment I saw it clearly. The man Allison was marrying cared more about calm than about fairness. Nobody was going to step in for Caleb or for me. If I wanted things to change, I would have to move first. That night our apartment was quiet except for the hum of the fridge. Caleb sat at the table with his laptop open, a glow on his face. When I walked in, he looked up, eyes bright. "I got an email," he said. "Remember that startup accelerator I told you about but did not think I would get into? They accepted me. They want me in their next group." For a moment my anger at Allison faded. The accelerator was in the same city as the wedding. They were hosting an investor showcase that weekend. Caleb would be one of the new founders on stage, showing his grocery price platform to serious investors. "That is huge," I said, moving closer. His smile was small but proud. "It could change everything," he said. "If it goes well, they might fund us. I will have to present, talk to people, maybe meet partners." He swallowed. "I know that part will be hard. But I want to try." He said he would go alone so I could focus on the wedding. His voice was gentle, but my chest twisted. The same weekend my sister wanted him hidden. Strangers were ready to call him a founder to watch. The gap between their view of him and his reality stretched wide inside my mind. A few days later Caleb's mother Diana called me. Her voice always carried a soft strength, like a warm blanket you did not see coming. "Patricia told me a little about what is going on," she said. "I wanted to hear from you first. How are you holding up, Olivia?" I hesitated, then told her everything. The phone call, the dinner, the ban. The way Caleb had smiled like it did not matter while picking at his fingers until the skin turned red. Diana was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, How many times have you had to shrink yourself so your family can feel bigger? The question hit like cold water. I thought about birthdays when Allison made cruel jokes about my clothes. About college visits where Mom bragged about Allison's social life while ignoring my grades. About holidays where Caleb sat alone in the corner while everyone praised Brandon's charm. She told me stories about Caleb as a boy, bullied for his stutter and old shoes but still working hard, still kind. Marriage means choosing each other most, she said gently. After we hung up, I sat on the floor and cried. This was not just about a guest list. It was about a pattern that had followed me for years. The bridal party group chat started 2 weeks later. Allison added me along with her bridesmaids and a few cousins. My phone exploded with messages from the moment I woke up. She sent outfit rules, hair rules, skincare tips, and even a list of foods she said we should avoid before the big day to stay photo-ready. People reacted with laughing emojis and heart eyes. I scrolled past pictures of dresses and centerpieces, feeling oddly distant. Then a voice note came through. I pressed play and her cheerful voice filled my bedroom. Ladies, she said, we are keeping this circle tight. I have banned some people from bringing unpresentable dates so the photos look brandyable. My sister is finally doing one thing right by coming solo. We love growth. Someone replied with 3 heart emojis. Another sent clapping hands. Patricia wrote, so proud of you, baby. Heat rose up my neck. My fingers shook as I took a screenshot. Instead of answering, I tapped the menu and quietly left the group. As the screen blinked and my name vanished from the chat, I sat in my parked car outside work, breathing hard and trying not to cry before my shift. I decided to go to a small bridal shower Allison planned at a rooftop bar, just to see things clearly. I told Caleb I wanted to understand what I was truly dealing with. He nodded and squeezed my hand. The evening was warm and bright. Lights hung over the patio, and soft music floated through the air. Allison came in wearing a short white dress and high heels that clicked on the floor. Her friends cheered like she was a celebrity. Within minutes she insulted our cousin Jamie's thrifted floral dress, laughing that it looked like a tablecloth. She teased another friend for not having a big title job like Brandon and said maybe the wedding would inspire her to level up. Brandon stood nearby, sipping his drink. When Allison made her comments, he did not stop her. I remembered when we were kids and Allison hid my birthday cake so she could blow out the candles herself. Back then I told myself she was just playful. Watching her now, the word playful felt like a lie. I left early, claiming I had work in the morning. As I walked to my car, my keys dug into my palm. I no longer saw my sister as stressed. I saw her as someone who chose cruelty. The next day at lunch, I sat across from my coworker Mia in the break room. She listened with wide eyes as I poured out the whole story between bites of salad. So she banned your husband but expects you to smile in her pictures, Mia said. That is wild. I let out a tired laugh. If I yell or refuse to come, she will tell everyone I ruined her big moment, I said. She is very good at flipping things. Mia sipped her drink, thinking. You know I love those story channels, she said slowly. The ones where people get poetic justice instead of just screaming matches. What if Allison had to face her own words in public without you saying a single rude thing? I frowned. What do you mean? Mia leaned forward. Think about those silly party games where someone is blindfolded and has to greet a mystery guest, she said. What would happen if she had to greet the man she called embarrassing without knowing it was him? At first I laughed, picturing Allison reaching out with a big fake smile. But the picture would not leave my head. The idea of her words bouncing back on her, in front of the people she wanted to impress most, felt like a small light in the dark. That night I told Caleb about Mia's idea as we washed dishes. Soap bubbles slid down the plates while hot water steamed between us. So she would be blindfolded, I said, and think she is meeting some big important guest. Then it would be you. Caleb froze, hands still in the sink. Liv, that sounds like a circus, he said quietly. I do not want to be a joke. It would not be a joke, I said quickly. It would be the truth in front of everyone. She would have to see you as you really are. He looked at me, eyes tired. I spent most of my life trying not to give people extra reasons to stare at me, he said. I know you are angry, and you have every right, but I need to know this is about respect, not just payback. His words pushed through my anger. He was right. If the plan made him feel like a prop, then I was no better than Allison using people for her image. I reached for his wet hand. We only do this if you feel safe and if it leads to something better, I said. Not just a viral moment in someone else's phone. 2 evenings later, Brandon called out of the blue. His voice sounded tight, like he had been rehearsing what to say. Can we talk in person? He asked. I agreed, curious and wary, and we met at a park where kids played on swings and the air smelled like cut grass. He took a deep breath. I need to apologize, he said. Allison has been saying things about you and Caleb that are not fair. She makes fun of your house, your car, even your job. I laughed along or stayed quiet. That was wrong. His honesty surprised me. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. Because lately I have been seeing other sides of her, he said. She is different when she feels superior. Mean, almost. And I am about to marry her. He ran a hand through his hair. What can I do to help instead of just hiding? He asked. The question hung between us. For the first time, I saw that he was not only weak. He was also scared. I thought of Mia's idea and of Caleb's warning. There is one thing, I said slowly. But you would have to keep it a secret from Allison and trust that I am not doing this just to hurt her. The next week, details began to fall into place like puzzle pieces. Caleb told me the accelerator was hosting a special donor dinner and networking reception at the same hotel where Allison's rehearsal events would be held. Their logo would be on several signs around the property all weekend. When I shared this with Brandon, his eyes widened. He met with Allison's wedding planner and casually mentioned that one of Brandon's business contacts might be able to bring in a sponsor from the accelerator to stop by the rehearsal dinner. He played it like a favor to make the event look more impressive. The planner almost glowed with excitement. A sponsor visit would look amazing in photos and online posts, she said. She started using words like brand partnership and future opportunities. I made sure Caleb's full name and company were on all the official documents, but no one in my family saw that paperwork. They just heard there was a special guest from a startup group in town and assumed it would be some older investor. In the bridal chat, Allison bragged about serious money people coming. I said nothing, just watched the plan slowly take shape around her. At the next planning meeting, we all sat with the wedding coordinator at a long table in the hotel lounge. Swatches of fabric and flower photos covered the surface. The planner clapped her hands. I have a fun idea for when the sponsor arrives at the rehearsal dinner, she said. We will make a surprise moment. Allison, you will stand blindfolded in the center. When the guest walks in, you will greet him. Then you pull off the blindfold for a reveal. It will be great for social media. Allison squealed. Oh my God, I love that, she said. Imagine the video. Me meeting some big name. She turned to Brandon. Your family will die when they see it. My stomach twisted, but I kept my face still. The planner turned to me. Olivia, you are so calm under pressure, she said. Can you help direct people when the time comes? I nodded slowly. Sure, I said. I can handle that. Allison kept talking about how she would look expensive and on their level in the clip. Every word she said about money and image felt like another weight pressing on my chest. The train we had started was now speeding forward, and I was no longer sure I knew how to stop it. The night before the rehearsal dinner, Caleb and I checked into the hotel. The room was small but neat, with a view of the parking lot and a hint of the city skyline in the distance. My dress for the dinner hung on the door. Caleb's suit jacket lay across a chair. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling while the air conditioner hummed. In my mind, I replayed the scene that might happen tomorrow. Allison in the center of the room. Phone recording. Her bright smile. Then her face when she saw who was really in front of her. Part of me felt a wicked giddy thrill. She would finally face her own cruelty. Another part felt sick. Was I planning a lesson or a trap? Caleb rolled onto his side to look at me. If at any point you want to stop this, we stop, he said. I will walk away if it turns ugly. I do not need revenge. I need you. His eyes were steady and kind. Shame and love mixed in my chest. I nodded and slid closer to him, resting my head on his shoulder. We fell asleep like that, holding on to each other, with the future hanging above us like a question we could not yet answer. The next evening I walked into the ballroom alone, just like Allison wanted. The room glowed with soft lights and white flowers. Gold place cards sat neatly at each seat. A string quartet played in the corner. Family members greeted me with smiles full of approval. Patricia hugged me and whispered, "I am proud of you for respecting Allison's wishes." I forced a small smile that did not reach my eyes. Guests talked loudly about how Allison was marrying up and how this wedding would finally elevate our whole family. I stood near the back, listening, feeling like a stranger in my own life. My phone buzzed in my hand. A text from the accelerator contact popped up. "We are almost ready to send him over. 5 minutes." I typed back a quick thank you and slipped the phone into my bag. Across town, Caleb was finishing his first evening with the accelerator group. He had already met several investors and even joined a panel. Soon the planner would escort him through the staff hallway straight into this ballroom. The wedding planner clapped to get everyone's attention and announced that our special guest would be arriving any moment. Cameras started to rise like a small forest of glowing screens. As everyone waited, Allison clinked her glass with a spoon, making the room fall quiet. She stood near the center in a sparkly dress, hair pinned perfectly back. "First, I want to thank everyone for being here," she said. "I chose every detail carefully. Every flower, every song, every person. I had to edit out some plus ones, but sometimes you have to protect your shine." There were a few uneasy laughs. Patricia smiled sharply and raised her glass. Allison continued. "Some people need to learn there is a difference between love and settling," she said, eyes sliding toward me for just a second. I decided I will never settle again. Heat rushed to my face. It was not a comment about love. It was a dagger aimed at my marriage. My hand tightened around my glass so hard I worried it would crack. Before I could speak, the planner rushed in from the side door and whispered in my ear. "He is here," she said. "Are we ready for the blindfold?" My heart slammed against my ribs. I nodded once. The planner turned to Allison with a bright smile. "Time to meet your surprise guest," she said. The room buzzed with excited chatter as someone handed Allison a long silky blindfold. The music shifted to something softer. The planner stood beside Allison and announced that a special visitor from a major startup group was about to join us. Phones went up. People leaned forward in their chairs. Allison laughed and tossed her hair. She let the planner tie the blindfold over her eyes. The cloth covered her lashes and smoothed over her brows. She looked thrilled, like this was the star moment of her own show. "Stand right here," the planner said, guiding her to the middle of the dance floor. "When he enters, you will greet him, then pull off the blindfold on my count." "Ready." "Ready," Allison said, beaming. "I cannot wait to meet someone who understands real potential." At the back of the room, the double doors opened. My breath caught. Caleb stepped through, led by an assistant from the accelerator. He wore his dark suit and a clean name badge with his company's logo. The lights caught the calm lines of his face. As he walked between the tables, some guests whispered about how he looked important. None of them seemed to recognize him from past holidays when he sat in a corner near the snacks. The planner placed a gentle hand on his shoulder and stopped him right in front of Allison. From my spot near the edge of the room I could see everything. Allison, blindfolded and smiling. Caleb, standing straight and quiet. A circle of guests, phones raised. Allison started talking before anyone prompted her. "I hope you can tell I take vision seriously," she said. "I am marrying into a strong family and I am ready to be an asset." People around her laughed softly. The planner spoke up. "Allison, reach out and greet our guest," she said. "No peeking yet." Allison giggled and stretched out her hands. They searched the air until they found Caleb's. He let his fingers curl gently around hers. Her smile faltered for barely a second. Her thumbs moved slowly over his knuckles like she was checking a memory. "I know these hands," she said half under her breath. "You feel like someone I know." A hush fell over part of the crowd. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. Caleb's jaw tightened, but his eyes stayed kind. The planner smiled wide. "On three," she said. 1, 2, 3. Allison pulled off the blindfold with a flourish, already tilting her head toward the cameras with her practiced charming smile. The smile died before it reached her cheeks. The moment her eyes focused on the man in front of her, the air in the room changed. Caleb stood there, steady in his suit, name badge shining. The projector screen behind him showed a looping slide from the accelerator event happening across the hall. His startup's name glowed in bold letters under the words "Founders to Watch." For a second Allison's face went blank. Her mouth opened and closed with no sound. People near us gasped softly. Someone lowered their phone. Caleb spoke first. "Thank you for having me," he said in a clear, even voice that held only a hint of his old stutter. "I am Caleb Miller. My team is sponsoring part of this weekend while we work with the startup accelerator here." He paused, then added, "I almost did not come when I heard I was too embarrassed to be seen with my own wife." The words hung in the air like a bell that would not stop ringing. Heads turned toward Allison. Brandon's parents stared between her and Caleb, their faces tight. My hands trembled, but for the first time in weeks the tremble did not come from shame. It came from finally hearing the truth spoken out loud. Silence pressed on the room for a long, heavy moment. Then Brandon's father cleared his throat. "Allison," he said carefully, "is that true? You told this man he was embarrassing?" Color flooded Allison's cheeks. She laughed, the sound thin and sharp. "Oh my God," she said. "It was a joke that got twisted. You know how people exaggerate." Several bridesmaids exchanged looks. One of them shifted and stared at the floor. They had heard the voice note. They knew it was no joke. Patricia stepped in, her voice smooth. "Things have been tense," she said. "It is all a misunderstanding. We are so grateful Caleb could be here." Her eyes flicked to me, flashing anger. "How could you do this?" they seemed to say. From somewhere in the back, a quiet voice spoke. "If he is embarrassing, what does that make the rest of us?" An uncle muttered. Brandon turned to me, then to Allison. There was confusion in his eyes, but also something hurt. Allison's gaze locked on mine, sharp and wild. "You set me up," she hissed. "You wanted to humiliate me." Before I could answer, the planner suggested that a close family step into a side room to talk. The party chatter rose again, thin and nervous. The small side room felt too bright and too hot. A tray of untouched cookies sat on a table, the sweet smell heavy in the air. Someone closed the door behind us. It was just me, Caleb, Allison, Brandon, and Patricia. Allison spun on me. "What is wrong with you?" she shouted. "You ruined my rehearsal dinner. You made me look like a monster in front of everyone." "You did that yourself," I said quietly. "You called my husband embarrassing. You banned him from your wedding. You laughed about me coming alone. All I did was let your words show in the light. Patricia stepped closer, her face tight. Olivia, this was disrespectful, she said. You embarrassed the family tonight. My chest burned. Years of swallowed hurt rose up all at once. I told them about the dinner where they all cut off Caleb's stories. The group chat message. The comments about my house and my car. Childhood moments when Allison ruined my parties and Mom brushed it off as jokes. Caleb spoke, his voice soft but firm. I have never asked to be the center of anything, he said. I know I am quiet. I know I stutter. But hearing that I was banned because I did not fit someone's image still hurt. Brandon looked at Allison. Do you regret what you said, or just being caught? He asked. Later that night, after more tense talking and hours that felt endless, Caleb and I sat on the hotel bed. My dress pooled around me. His tie lay on the floor. On the nightstand lay the wedding invitation and 2 place cards with our names. Brandon had sent a text saying he needed time to think and that he understood if we chose not to come to the ceremony. Patricia sent a shorter message blaming me for the scene and warning that Allison might not forgive me. I read her words twice, then set the phone down. My chest ached, but there was a strange lightness under the ache. What do you want to do? Caleb asked. I looked at him, at the man my sister called embarrassing, at the man who had spent the evening speaking to investors, not just playing along with small talk, at the man who still chose gentle honesty over loud revenge. I want to give them their gift and leave, I said. You have investor meetings tomorrow. That matters. We matter. He nodded slowly. Then that is what we will do. As we packed our bags, sadness washed over me in waves. But for the first time, the sadness did not come with guilt. It came with a quiet sense of self-respect I did not want to lose. Months later, the memory of that night felt like a story from another life. I sat in our living room, now filled with small plants and warm light, while friends crowded around our table sharing takeout. Caleb stood by the whiteboard on the wall, explaining a new partnership his startup had signed with a national grocery chain. His eyes were bright. When he stumbled over a word, he smiled and kept going. No one laughed at him. They laughed with him. On the shelf near the window sat a framed photo of us visiting Diana, his mother. In it, we were all holding coffee cups and smiling like people who knew they were safe. I thought of Allison. Her wedding had still happened, though smaller than planned. Brandon had pushed for counseling after seeing her behavior clearly. Weeks after the wedding, she sent me a long text. She admitted she had cared more about photos and status than about people. She apologized to us and asked if we could rebuild someday. I wrote back and said I forgave her, but I also told her our boundaries would be different now. Real love does not call you embarrassing for being yourself. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stop letting other people decide who is worthy of being seen.